Morning team. How do I stop procrastinating, putting things off when looking to get in shape? And for context, I think it's useful to reflect on procrastination. Like, is it something that you do? Is it something that I do? Is it something that we all do? And in fact, I would say that my brain tells me that I never procrastinate. Never once in my entire life have I procrastinated. This is my brain talking, by the way. I remember being on a coaching call with one of my former coaches and was talking about procrastination. Perhaps something wasn't being done. Perhaps I wanted to have something done. Again, I'm not too sure about the specifics, but I do remember having that conversation and talking about procrastination. And I remember thinking, why are we having this conversation? I don't procrastinate. Like, I get busy, I get overwhelmed, I've got huge goals, I've got a lot that I want to do, I'm driven, I'm determined, I put the hours in, I do the work, don't procrastinate. Now that is a great insight, at least from my perspective, in the sense that maybe we all do, or perhaps it's just a handle which we prefer not to use. So you can say you put things off. That's much less offensive to my brain and my ego, right? It's like, oh yeah, I put things off 100%. Getting in shape, generally speaking, it's looking and feeling your best, right? Dropping body fat, improving your habits, getting into the right mindset, achieving your health and fitness goals, right? The more and more that I learn and develop and grow, and the older I get, the more important I know how it's all linked in and how I show up. So, quite a lengthy introduction into procrastination and putting things off. But hopefully that gives you a bit of an insight, because if you're busy, if you put things off, if you've got a lot to do, if you kind of have your goals and they keep getting pushed to one side, then call it what you want. It goes to the same place. You're still left lacking. You're still left with the judgment. You're still left potentially feeling guilty if you do put yourself first, or beating yourself up if you don't. You're still a sticky wicket, right? It doesn't matter what label you use. Still not good. Let's fix it, right? How can we fix it? Well, what happens when we put something off? That's a good conversation. What happens when we don't do something, we put it off, when a lot of it might just be excuses. A lot of it might just be excuses. Like, at the time, it doesn't feel like an excuse, but upon reflection, you're like, wait a minute. A couple of things are obvious to me right now. One of them is that people make excuses. Number one. Number two is I'm also a people. Like, how do I get in front of that stuff? Well, when we put some off, it's Tuesday today, right? It's a little bit early to be putting things off till Monday. But if you've had a bad day yesterday, maybe someone watching this video already has. Next Monday. I mentioned in one of the videos about weight loss goals towards Christmas. Again, it's a little bit early for people to be putting things off until January the 1st. Perfectly possible, It's not been a great year. Next year will be different. Yada, yada, yada. Possibly, someone might be having that thought process. Now, when we, as individuals and collectively, put things off, we procrastinate and busy ourselves doing other things, only then to not achieve our goal, to beat ourselves up, or to be left questioning what's really going on here. It feels awesome. It feels great. You've lightened your psychological load. You now have more bandwidth. You've more headspace. You're more creative. You've more energy. You've more focus. You can focus. You can work on the things that are immediately pressing. Because your health can always wait. Your health can always wait. I was with one of my clients in a gym, and I showed him a message from somebody else who I was chatting to, and for context, that person's like, yep, you can share this, because I learned a lesson about 18 months ago. I learned a lesson about this in the sense that someone I was going to work with, we didn't end up working together, which is cool. And then I thought, I'm going to see how they're getting on. I grew up with them. I've known them since I was like 9. Awesome guy. And, wanted to lose weight, wanted to sort his habits out. Like heart attack. Like, wow. Like we don't get, it's not like we get a warning about this stuff. I've got a ticket for parking illegally in London, in a Lidl in Peckham, when I went to visit a couple of clients for the London Marathon. Like, we get warnings for that stuff. We don't get warnings for, these health things, right? I mean, it is what it is. May as well face the reality. So, this is something we need to get in front of. So yeah, we get a big dopamine hit, right? We get a big relief of pressure, of tension. We get more bandwidth. So that's we do get something out of it. Is the ethos of the conversation. All right. Number 2, what the challenge can often be, and I said the word what then, is what we're doing isn't in alignment with our long-term goals. Again, if I imagine I feel better, the dopamine hit. Well, we generally fight fire with fire. Like where does that come from? Fight fire with fire. I don't know how many fireman friends on my Facebook. Remy watches these. If you're watching this, just give me a comment, Remy, and let me know. Do you fight fire with fire, or do you use water? Like, where does that phrase come from? We don't fight fire with fire. Like, imagine, like, the stupidity. Now, but when we're looking at down in our health, we do fight fire with fire. We're like, I'm going to work out. I seen this morning, personal trainer, awesome guy, and it was like, this exercise burns loads of calories. Does that matter? How many calories you burn when you're exercising if you've had a skinful the night before? Like, no. Like, eating 5 beers at 300 calories, 5 times 300, 1500, do an awesome workout, 500, you're still 1,000 down. You're dehydrated, got no energy, got no focus, and you've had a great workout, so you can reward yourself. Like, it's not the answer. So a lot of the time we can procrastinate and put things off because the action steps we're actually taking when we do want to take action, they're not in line with success. It doesn't work. The system's broke. So of course you're not motivated to do the thing that when you didn't work anyway. Otherwise you wouldn't be in a situation that you're in, right? Like, it's just doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. So what can we do? In essence, so just to go back, we get a reward. Well, we all do this. We get a reward. Things that we do don't work, which is why we are where we are. So that's where that zaps our motivation, and then we try and fix it using a bit of a hammer. All right, maybe we don't need a hammer to achieve this goal because maybe we're busy and like we've got only a certain amount of bandwidth. So doing this exercise program, following that diet plan, it's never going to work long term. So what can we do instead? So hopefully you've got some value from this video so far. I'm going to give you a little bit of a tip, if you like. It's not huge. It isn't hugely transformational, but I tell you what, it's a piece of the puzzle. All right, and if you have a jigsaw, they all matter. So one thing we can do is look at again, you're gonna be like, you said this before, Mike. I know, bear with me, it's your habits. all right? It's your habits. So if you're following said exercise program, if you're following said, diet, like sleeping pattern, whatever you're doing, look at, is it sustainable? Is it towards my values and my goals? Then it sticks. Then it doesn't take any energy to do, and then we get the result without the effort, and then we can start to accumulate and compound and gather momentum towards these goals, all right? But there's a massive value in putting things off. We feel so much better. We're like, oh, like that's an insight. That's a life-changing reflection that I learned about, like I say, about 18 months ago, when I realized that my brain was like, oh, just put it off. And then I was like, it's just dopamine. It's like, now I'm just taking perfect action. Look, watch this video. It's not perfect, it's not polished, it's just me, right? It's what it is, right? It's all good. Speak to you tomorrow.